That's all the systems up and running on the ship, which I've now named Volunder's Anvil, in reference not only to its shape, but also as a nod to a blacksmith from Norse mythology. I'm aware that time is of the essence right now, so I've been working through the night in order to get the ship not only flyable, but combat ready as soon as possible. The shields and weapon systems are working perfectly, but the lack of platinum available is hindering my ability to get as many ion thrusters completed as I would like. I just hope there's enough.
Commander, the Thalyar are trying to send you a coded transmission, but the antenna has been powered down and requires manual reactivation via a command console.
Ah, damn it. I did that earlier to save power. Acknowledged, Ben. I'm on my way back to the command center now. If any luck, this will be their response to my plan of attack on the enemy shipyards we discovered earlier. All I've really been waiting for is their approval of that plan and confirmation that they can send some ships to assist me in the attack. I mean, let's face it, I'd rather not take on all those enemy vessels up there with just the Anvil at my disposal. I may be brave, but I'm not stupid. There we go. Okay, Ben, that's the antenna back online. Put the transmission through onto the large view screen on the far right, where that 3D damage display readout is.
Acknowledged, Commander. Please stand by.
The following briefing has been designated as a Priority 1 transmission. Please observe all relevant protocols.
Robertson, Commander, your discovery of the ship construction facility requires us to attack sooner than planned. As a result, we only have one defense craft available that is fully repaired and able to assist you in the coming engagement.
Damn.
The enemy forces greatly outnumber us, as they have 2 vessels guarding the ship construction facility, and another 3 vessels patrolling the space above Shaliasma, including what appears to be a command vessel. Therefore, we have decided to proceed with the plan that you proposed, to help negate their numerical superiority.
Well, that's good news at least.
The first phase of the attack will begin when the defense craft ZX-48, under Coordinator Zonu, engages the enemy fleet patrolling near to Shaliasma. Their objective is not to destroy, but to try and disable the command ship's jump drive and lure them to the other side of the planet, before disengaging and returning into the atmosphere. With the majority of the enemy ships occupied, Robertson, Commander, will be able to bring his ship into orbit. Then attack the enemy vessel construction facility, while only 2 vessels are within range to defend it. If all goes well, the enemy facility and its defenders should be neutralized before the rest of the fleet returns.
If all goes well.
Once the enemy reinforcements arrive, Coordinator Zonu and the ZX-48 will jump in and rejoin the battle. The objective now will be to destroy or disable as many of the enemy ships as possible to ensure victory. We wish you much fortune, Robertson, Commander, and may the great creators watch over us all.
Hey, thanks. When you put it like that, it makes it sound a lot simpler. Sadly, there's still a lot that can go wrong with that plan, so we'll need to stay sharp out there and be ready to improvise at a moment's notice. The attack isn't due to commence until later today, so I've still got a few more hours left to get as many thrusters finished on the Anvil as possible. I also need to ensure that it's got enough hydrogen fuel to get it into orbit and back again, which means I need those hydrogen tanks on the Anvil filled to at least 75%. The idea is this gives me some to spare for emergency maneuvers during the battle. And something tells me I'm going to need it. Especially if I only have 1 Thalyar ship supporting me. Well, I suppose, at least it's better than none. Even with all those upgrades, the platinum ore is still taking a long time to be refined. While I'm waiting, I might as well move the aerospace fighter. It's too big to fit inside Volunder's Anvil, but it can, however, sit on the ramp at the back of the vessel. The idea is that if I need to make frequent trips back and forth between the planet's surface and orbit, I can use the fighter instead of the Anvil. That should help save on hydrogen. It also means that I've got the option of using the fighter in the forthcoming battle, but that's really only as a last resort. Now, I've got to be very precise with my landing. There's not much space to park this thing back here. That looks about right. I'll just drop down slowly now, and hope that the thrusters in this thing don't damage the deck too badly. There, that should do it. Right, I'll just power this down and go outside and check to see if there's any damage. Whoa, jetpack on! Good grief, I didn't realise I was that close to the edge. It looks as though the thrusters didn't do too much damage here. In fact, I'm not seeing any damage at all. Not that I'm complaining, of course. That does look a bit snug though. I mean, it barely fits up there. But it does fit, and that's the important thing. Well, now that that's over, I better get back to building those ion thrusters. I need as many of those up and running as I possibly can to stand a chance in the battle ahead. Six thruster components. Something tells me I'm going to need a lot more to get this next one built. Yep, 19. I've still got a long ways to go. I should have enough components to complete this one now.
Robertson, Commander. This is Zonu, coordinator of the Thalyar defense craft CX-48. We are now engaging the enemy fleet in orbit above shallow Yasma.
Coordinator Zonu, this is Commander Robertson. Acknowledged. I'm preparing my ship for takeoff now. Let me know the moment you manage to lead that fleet to the other side of the planet.
Acknowledged. Please be aware that we've only detected 2 enemy vessels so far. 1 command ship and 1 escort-sized vessel. The second escort vessel does not appear to be with this fleet.
Copy that. Stay alert, Coordinator. That other ship is still somewhere out there and could appear at any moment. Good luck, Zonu. Robertson out. Well, that is worrying. We've got 1 enemy ship unaccounted for already. I don't want it to suddenly appear and surprise us. I don't like those kind of surprises. Well, I guess we'll just have to deal with that situation if and when it occurs. Right now, however, it's time to prep for takeoff. And I'll start by closing these blast doors here, and pressurizing the rest of the ship. Perfect. The power levels look fine and the hydrogen tanks are filled up to 85%, which should be more than enough. I'll also take this opportunity to activate the artificial gravity generator as well. I'll keep the settings relatively low so it doesn't drain too much power from the reactors. I think about 0.3 Earth Gs should suffice. Yep, that looks okay. I'll just do some last minute checks, but everything else up here in the cockpit looks okay. The screens are all set to display the relevant information, and the shields are already up at 100%. All that's left for me to do now is wait.
Robertson, Commander. This is Zonu. We've successfully disabled the command ship's jump drive and led the fleet to the opposite side of Shalaosma. We are now disengaging and re-entering the atmosphere. Good fortune with your attack, and may the great creators watch over you.
Copy that, Coordinator Zonu. I'm preparing for takeoff now. I'll signal you again once the enemy defenders have been neutralized and their reinforcements arrive. Good luck. Robertson out. Continuing with my pre-flight check, reactors 1 through 6 were looking good. Their inventories of uranium are fine, temperatures are at optimum. I'm not getting any warnings, which means we're clear for hydrogen thruster startup in 3, 2, 1, mark. Hydrogen thrusters are now all online and the pressure readings are looking good. Deactivating the magnetic clamps on the landing gear. Alright, let's do this. I am now increasing power to the hydrogen thrusters. And we have liftoff. Now let's see if I can get this thing into orbit. Benson, give me a quick status report, please. How are things looking?
All systems are fully operational, and reactors 1 through 6 are running with unacceptable levels. Energy shields are currently active and are at 100% integrity, and all weapon systems are online and fully operational. However, there are faults with multiple ion thrusters, but this is a known issue as they were not completed prior to takeoff.
Yeah, a fact of which I'm painfully aware. Thanks, Ben. The good thing is, this thing appears to have more than enough thrust, even with the aerospace fighter attached to the back. I was initially worried that all that extra weight would be a problem, but that does not appear to be the case. Then again, when I did alter the original design of the Dauntless class Stoic, I added a few extra thrusters at the back, so those have definitely helped. It looks like the Anvil has got more than enough power. I just hope it doesn't burn through too much fuel. We're still burning through hydrogen quite rapidly at the moment, but that's because we're still relatively low in the atmosphere. Once we get higher up, there will be less drag and gravity won't be as much of an issue. Eventually we'll reach the stage where we can shut down the hydrogen thrusters completely and only use them again once we need more delta V during combat. I'm hoping that by the time I make it to orbit I'll have at least 40% of the hydrogen fuel left in reserve. If not, then things might get a little dicey later on. There we are. We're at the stage now where the Anvil can pretty much go vertical and will continue to gain velocity until it gets into orbit. And I have to admit, everything's looking good so far. What I am looking forward to is testing out that new toy that the Thalyar have given me. Essentially, it's an addition to my visor that's based off of their 3D holographic technology. It makes use of over 25 tiny cameras that are located around the Anvil's hull to project a display on my HUD that creates a realistic 3D model of my ship and the space surrounding it, like a type of third-person external camera view. Unfortunately, it's only designed to work with this particular ship once it gets into a vacuum and I toggle the alert status to condition red. It's certainly an interesting piece of kit. I'll have to remember to get Ben to help me reverse engineer it after this battle. Providing we survive, of course. I'm just toggling the hydrogen thrusters off and on occasionally because we're at the stage now where we're having to rely on them less and less. Which means very soon we'll be at the point where all we need are the ion thrusters. In fact, before we do reach orbit, I'm going to activate the waypoint for the enemy shipyards, just so I can see where they are. Right, they're 90 degrees below me. Well, that's not too bad, I suppose. Okay, I'll start turning towards it now. I've gained enough momentum and I'm close enough to orbit that it should be okay to do so. I'll just fly backwards for a few seconds and admire the planet below. This will be the first time I've taken a large vessel like this into space since I arrived here in the Pristinium. The aerospace fighter was a small ship, and unlike this one, it's not really self-sufficient. The Anvil has a refinery, oxygen generator, and an assembler. Pretty much all I'll need for the trip back to Earth. Even with this jump drive installed, it's going to take me several months to get back, so I'll have to load up the Anvil with plenty of spare components, just in case I need to conduct any emergency repairs on the way home. I'll be spending most of it asleep in the cryopod again, but old Benson here will be sure to wake me up if we do run into any problems that he can't deal with by himself.
Of course, Commander. As always, your safety is my top priority, followed by that of the ship itself.
Why, thanks, Ben, and as always, I'm glad to hear it. What I will have to do is make sure that I have enough fuel for the trip back. That jump drive eats up a lot of power, and the last thing I want is to be stranded out there in deep space. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. Before I can get back to Earth, I've got a job to do first, and that job is taking care of these hostile aliens and their damned shipyard. Speaking of which, now that we've reached orbit, it's time for us to head straight for them and try to close the distance as quickly as we can. As soon as they see us coming, they'll call for help, and that command ship and its escorts will be on their way back. That's if they're not already. We're beginning to close in on the shipyards now, so I'll just take a look using the camera. Well now, isn't that interesting? As well as that shipyard and the partially built capital ship, I'm seeing not 2 but 3 escort vessels patrolling around it. I guess that explains what happened to our missing ship from the other fleet. Right, sounding general quarters, activating third-person camera. Whoa, talk about an out-of-body experience. Well, this just feels weird. It does enhance my situational awareness though, but it is going to take a bit of getting used to. Oh, hang on, that light is supposed to be red now. I guess I was too busy working on the ion thrusters, I didn't have time to check that before takeoff.
Caution, Commander. Our long-range sensors have detected the presence of multiple warheads on board the largest of the enemy vessels in front of us.
Ah, so that new ship is a mine-laying vessel. They must have sent it here to bolster security after I flew past on that last recon mission. A wise move. And one that doesn't make my job any easier. If we're lucky, we've been able to catch it before it's had the chance to deploy too many mines. Hopefully this won't interfere with my attack runs, as this is the method I've opted to use. By space jousting rather than orbiting, we limit the time available for both ourselves and our adversaries to exchange fire before we are out of range again, giving our shields time to recharge. Commencing the first attack run now. In this run, I'm aiming to engage both the shipyard and that nearest escort vessel. Okay, let's give him hell. Shit, that's a lot of firepower. Hopefully at least one of those vessels will break off an attack. Otherwise I've got to face that wall of enemy firepower each time I attack that space station. Luckily it doesn't look like I've taken any damage, the shields have held. Well, I guess it's time to line up for another attack run. Excellent. That's what I was hoping for. That escort vessel has broken off from the others and is trying to pursue me. That will be his undoing. Because, as far as I'm aware, none of these guys have shields. At least, not that I've seen. So providing I'm careful, I should win this war of attrition. It looks like the other two are still holding back, which is good. I'm using the hydrogen thrusters for a little extra boost. I just need to be careful not to use them too much though. Neither of us did much damage that time. I'll just swing back around and come at him again. I still got plenty of shields left. I'll need to take this guy down quickly because I have absolutely no doubt that by now these guys have called for help and that second fleet is more than likely on its way back. Nice one. I got some good hits on him that time. He's hurting for sure now. Right, let's finish off this son of a bitch. Damn it, shields are critical. But he's taking one hell of a beating as well though.
Commander, our current target has taken extensive hull damage and has suffered a catastrophic reactor failure.
Oh yeah, check that out. I think it's safe to say that that ship's no longer a threat to us anymore. Well, now that he's been neutralised, it's time to refocus our attention back on that shipyard and those other two vessels. Commencing attack run, let's focus our fire on that mine-laying vessel. Damn it, Benson. We're doing damage, but not enough, and that shipyard is helping to take down our shields pretty quickly. We need to take out their weapons first, and to do that, I'll probably need to control the turrets manually.
Commander, you can assign control of any turret you require to the ship's taskbar on your 8UD.
Why, thanks for the advice, Benson, but I already know how to do that, and in fact, that's exactly what I plan to do. To be honest, right now our automated defences are hitting everything except the enemy's weaponry. Okay, we're closing in on our target again, switching to manual turret control. He might be too far away, but I'll take a few shots at him anyway. He's well within range though. That was a little better. I'll do the same for the next attack run and see how I get on. There we go, he's just lost a turret. Hey, what the hell?
Caution, Commander. Plasma pulse turret number 1 has been lost.
Shit, now we've lost a turret. That's going to cause problems. Yep, what's left of it just ended up on the front window. Well, if it's any consolation, the enemy vessels are hurting a lot worse than we are. If we let our shields recharge and press the attack, we still have a chance of succeeding, even with one turret out of action. We need to continue targeting their weapon systems, but we need to be more careful in future. We can't afford to lose another turret at this stage. Commencing our next attack run on the shipyard. Our target this time will be the Gatling turrets on the underside. Here's hoping I don't miss. Excellent. That's both Gatling turrets on the underside neutralised. And hopefully we can take out this escort ship that's been harassing us the whole time as well. The enemy mine layer is still active. I reckon maybe one more attack run and that should finish him off. And we'll also need to neutralise any remaining turrets in the top side of the shipyard. I'll focus on the mine layer first. Once it's taken care of, I'll deal with the escort and finally the space station. Benson, do you have any idea how far out those enemy reinforcements are?
Yes, Commander. The Thalyar long-range sensors on the planet are tracking the enemy command ship and its escort. They are en route to our current location, but are still over 100 kilometers away and must fly around the atmosphere of the planet. At their current velocity, I calculate that they won't be within firing range for approximately 20 to 25 minutes.
So while we do have time, there's not much. The sooner we neutralise these defenders, the better. In fact, that escort ship looks dead. I reckon it's just the shipyard and that mine layer we've got to worry about now. That mine layer has taken one hell of a beating now, so I'm hoping it's no longer able to continue the fight. That means we can finally focus on that shipyard. Unfortunately, it appears as though one of our hydrogen thrusters has been damaged. I'll take a proper look at it after the battle's over. It appears as though the Gatling turrets on the top side of the station were destroyed earlier in the battle. That's a pleasant surprise. Where the hell's that firing coming from? That mine layer is still alive. That relentless bastard just doesn't give up. Well, that's okay. I'll make him. I suppose that's what I get for wrongly assuming that he was out of the fight earlier, although I'm not sure what he hopes to achieve as he's hopelessly outgunned at this stage. Unless he's been given orders to defend this shipyard at all costs, even if it means his own life and that of whatever crew he has left. In which case, I almost feel sorry for him. Right, he's definitely out of the fight now. I'll just temporarily deactivate the weapon systems. I don't want them accidentally shooting things that I can use for myself later on. It looks as though that mine layer is just drifting away now without power. I've got a feeling that whoever was flying that thing was probably dying, and that last attack was just some form of last-ditch attempt to stop me. Regardless, I don't have time to go out and investigate. I need to take care of that shipyard. Not only are the weapons systems completely destroyed in the shipyard, but it looks as though I've punched several holes through the hull. If there was anybody alive in there, I guess there are not any more. But I'll need to go out and investigate just to be sure. Benson, what's the distance and ETA of those enemy reinforcements?
Commander, the enemy reinforcements are still 50 kilometers away from our current location. Their ETA is approximately 8 to 10 minutes.
Copy that, thanks Ben. That should be enough time to both investigate the shipyard and salvage some of those components to help build the rest of the ion thrusters on the Anvil. I'll just make sure I'm armed first before I go out in case there are any survivors out there in spacesuits or automated defences on the shipyard that are still active. Looking in through this window, I'm not seeing anybody alive in there at the moment, or any bodies for that matter, but the aliens might have all been inside those spaceships. Speaking of spaceships, the Anvil appears to have taken more than its fair share of damage. The hull is absolutely covered in bullet holes, and a lot of the armour plating has been buckled out of shape. I dare say, without those shields, things could have been a lot worse. At least my 3 remaining turrets are fully operational. They've taken little to no damage at all, so that's a good thing. The Gatling turrets have taken light damage, but they're still fully functional. But, as expected, they're out of ammo, which is why they stopped firing during the last attack run. Luckily, it appears as though the aerospace fighter has come through this battle without a scratch so far. And from the looks of things, the rest of the Anvil appears to be fine. There's no serious damage, at least nothing that I can't fix later on. In the meantime, let's get back to investigating this shipyard. Nope, there's definitely no survivors left inside, but I am seeing what looks like an interior defense turret in there. Yeah, that's definitely an interior turret in there, but that's okay, I know exactly how to deal with those. There we are, that's one interior turret that won't be a danger to me anymore. I'll just leave those components from that heavy armour block inside the connector. It might come in useful later. I wonder what else I can discover inside this shipyard. I was really hoping to find some survivors, or at least bodies of those hostile aliens, just to see who and what they are. Anyway, as much as I'd love to poke around inside, I'll have to leave that till later, as right now it's a race against time to salvage as much from this shipyard as possible in order to repair the Anvil and get as many of those remaining ion thrusters up and running as I can before the enemy reinforcements arrive. And I'll start by grinding these down and stealing their components. Even if I can only get the aft thrusters completed by the time the reinforcements arrive, I'll be more than happy.
Warning, Commander. The enemy reinforcements are now within 8 kilometers of our current location and closing.
Copy that, Ben. I've just finished the repairs and I'll be in shortly. Yeah, I see them. The command ship is approaching slowly, but that escort is coming in fast. Coordinator Zonu, this is Commander Robertson. The enemy reinforcements have arrived at the shipyard. You are cleared to jump in and engage at will.
Acknowledged, Robertson, Commander. We are on our way and should be with you soon.
Copy that, Zonu. I'll hold them off as best I can until you arrive. Robertson out. Okay, let's get those shields and weapon systems back online and move out as fast as we can. Shit, where the hell did he come from? That sneaky son of a bitch. I didn't even realise he'd gotten that close. And the worst thing is, that bugger's damaged the engine I just repaired. That's okay, once my shields recharge a bit more, I'll make sure he pays for that. I shouldn't have any trouble dealing with this one, providing I can keep him separated from his command ship. And once Zonu arrives, the odds will very much be in our favour. I'll risk another attack run on him now, even though my shields are low. I'll just make sure I manoeuvre as much as I can to avoid being hit. You see, this is where those particle beams have a distinct advantage over his Gatling turrets. And the good news is that it looks as though Coordinator Zonu and the ZX-48 has just jumped into the area as well. I've just seen a ship marked on my HUD. The ZX-48 is still a few kilometers out though, so it can't help us immediately. And in the meantime, I need to deal with this little shit. Coordinator Zonu, this is Commander Robertson. Try to make your way over to my position, but also try to keep your distance from that command ship, at least until we eliminate this escort vessel first. Over.
Confirmed.
I was tempted to take manual control of the turret, but I think due to the critical state of my shields, I'll just concentrate on manoeuvring and let the automated defences do their thing. And they're doing not too badly. It looks like I've managed to take out his missile launchers. Now that the ZX-48 has caught up with us, we can combine our firepower to make short work of that escort vessel. Yep, he's in trouble now. It looks like he's lost control. I just need to make sure I don't collide with him though. I need to keep an eye on that command ship though, just to make sure we deal with these bad guys one at a time. Oh, that's gotta hurt. That looked like I took out his reactors there. Benson, what's the status of my current target?
Commander, your current target has suffered catastrophic damage and has lost power.
Nice one. That means the only thing we've got to worry about now is that enemy command ship. Coordinator Zonu, this is Commander Robertson. I'll form up next to you and we'll engage that enemy command ship together.
Acknowledged.
Commander, the fire has been extinguished in engine number 2.
And not a moment too soon. I was worried in case we were going to lose the engine next to it as well. Thanks, Ben. The engines I have remaining should be more than enough, plus I've still got these hydrogen thrusters to give me a little extra boost. Right now I'm keeping my distance from that command ship until it's in range of the ZX-48. That way we can both concentrate our fire upon it. Although it appears as though my ally over there is happier shooting at other things right now. Okay, it looks like he's in range now. Moving into attack. Ah, damn it. Those particle beams are disrupting the plasma pulse cannon's containment fields. It's making them explode before they hit their target. I really should have placed those turrets further apart from each other. Well, at least the particle beams are getting him, and I'm getting a few shots in there. It looks like we took out one of his missile turrets. I'll try to get the other one in the next attack run. And he's lost 2 Gatlings at the front. I have taken some damage in that attack run, but it's not too bad. He certainly came out a lot worse than we did. It looks as though the ZX-48's turning around for another attack already. I'd better get in there and help him out. That's his second missile turret destroyed now. All I've got to do is focus on his Gatling turrets and his thrusters. Unfortunately, my automated defences don't seem to have their priorities in order. Robertson to Zonu. The enemy command ship has lost most of its weapons and is taking some serious damage. Let's finish him off.
Acknowledged.
This is Commander Robertson to Coordinator Zonu. We've done it. Ceasefire. The enemy command ship is crippled and is no longer a threat.
Confirmed.
I'll move into position and try to communicate with them and order their surrender. Whether they'll understand or even be willing to listen, well, that's up to them. But ideally, I would like to take them prisoner rather than kill them outright. Besides, I've got some questions for them, and I want answers. Open a channel on all frequencies. They probably won't understand me, but it's worth a try. This is Commander Robertson of the Thalyar Defense Force to the hostile alien vessel. Your ship is crippled and your weapons are disabled. We demand that you surrender immediately. Do you understand me? I say again, this is...
Never!
Mandarin Chinese detected.
What?
I am General Cheng of the People's Republic of Earth, and we will never surrender to you. You are a traitor to your own kind.
Wait, your Eastern Alliance? How was that possible? You lost the war. The treaty prevents you even making ships like those. Explain yourself, General. Why are you here, and why are you attacking the Thalyar?
Fool. You are the ones that lost the war. You are dead. You are all dead.
General, I don't understand what you're trying to say. If you surrender peacefully, I promise that you'll be treated fairly and we can discuss.
No, we would rather die. Glory to the People's Republic.
Warning. Energy spike detected.
General, stop! Damn it.
Commander, the enemy command ship appears to have triggered a form of self-destruct mechanism and has suffered catastrophic damage as a result.
Yeah, no shit. Ah, that damn fool. There was no need for that. None at all. Why the hell didn't he want to surrender? What did he think we'd do? I just don't understand. None of this makes any sense. Well, that's not entirely true. I suppose some of it does. At least this explains why I found their ships to be familiar and human-like. It was because after all this time, they were. And what did he mean, the People's Republic of Earth? If he means the People's Republic of China, then they were part of the Eastern Alliance with Russia. Those guys had their fleet dissolved after the last war. Both Russia and China were forced to pay extensive reparations to Mars, and the Treaty of San Francisco specifically prevented them from building anything other than lightly armed cargo ships. And their ships were brown with red markings, not bright red and yellow like these things. Have things really changed so much since I've been gone? And why the hell didn't the Thalyar realize these guys were human? And I don't think I'll find any more answers in this wreck either. It looks as though the explosives used in that self-destruct mechanism did a pretty good job of gutting out the insides of this thing. And I'm not expecting to find any bodies either. What's left of the crew will be scattered across the surrounding space by now. Poor bastards. Yeah, all that's left is that gyroscope I can't access, a few internal components, and the shell of the surrounding hull. There's a couple of ion thrusters left that still look intact, so I suppose they could be useful to me later on, but there's nothing else. There's no computer systems or consoles I can access to gain any more information on who these People's Republic guys really are, why they're all this way out here, and why they've been so aggressive and just downright hostile in their dealings with the Thalyar. Once again, I'm left with having more questions now than when I started. Anyway, enough of this. I need to focus on what's important, and that's to check on the damage to the Anvil. Thankfully, this side doesn't appear to be too badly damaged. The worst part is that buckled armour plating and hull breach to the side there, but I'll fix that later on once I've got some steel plates. The front is a mess though. I've lost a hydrogen thruster, some armour next to the ramp down there, and the antenna needs to be fixed up. While, in stark contrast, it appears as though this side is relatively undamaged. Overall, the damage that the Anvil has suffered has been relatively light, but a lot of that is thanks to those shield generators. Without those things, I have absolutely no doubt that I would not have survived that engagement. I'll use the components from the wreckage out there to repair Volunder's Anvil later on. In the meantime, since the antenna's out and I've only got short-range comms, plus the Anvil doesn't really have enough hydrogen left to risk re-entering the atmosphere again, I'll park the Anvil in orbit and fly down to Red Mountain Base in the aerospace fighter, and then I'll have an official debriefing with Councillor Zorak and the rest of the Thalyar. Speaking of which, this is Commander Robertson of Volunder's Anvil to Coordinator Zonu of the ZX-48. Mission accomplished. The enemy shipyard and all known hostile vessels have been neutralised. Great work. Now, let's return to base. Over.
Agreed, Robertson, Commander. Let us return. This has been a great victory. We could not have done this without you, and the Thalyar are forever in your debt.
Thanks, Zonu, but this was indeed a team effort, and your help was invaluable. Robertson out. Now that we've helped the Thalyar, we can finally prepare for the long journey back to Earth in the Sol system. Benson, it's time for us to go home.
Affirmative, Commander.